Okay, so this is what I prepared for y'all. This is the Crump Conflict Cycle. Okay, this is a broad overview, and then we're gonna go one by one. Select a grievance, name a target, polarize the public, apply media pressure, and create civil leverage. Let's go. I'm calling this the Alinsky style tactical parallel. So, Saul Alinsky, author of Rules for Radicals. Y'all know I've been talking a lot about Marxism. I thoroughly believe that the civil rights apparatus of the 1960s on forward was absolutely Marxist and communist infiltrated and led. That's my opinion. There's too much evidence to support it. I don't care if you don't like it. Yes, MLK was a Marxist. Okay, he was. He was trained in Marxist theory at the Highlander Folk School in Montego, Tennessee. Don't believe me? Look it up. Okay, you're gonna learn something coming over here today. My 186,000 subscribers. I don't need a million to be effective. I just need a few to listen who don't know. So, Saul Alinsky, am I saying that Ben Crump's a Marxist? Look, Ben has enough defamation issues to deal with right now. I don't need my own defamation issue to deal with. But here's what I will say. It seems like there's a lot in common here. He likes drawing parallels and connections and patterns, right? So I'm saying, well, if something looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it might be a duck. We don't know. We don't know if Ben Crump is quacking like a Marxist duck. But I've just seen some eerily similar patterns from the Saul Alinsky style playbook. So the first one is select a grievance, right? Begin with injustice before the facts are established. Did we see that? Did we not see that in the Nolan Wells case? The grievance is Mississippi. Black boy allegedly drowns, or we don't know what happened to be in the vicinity, in and around, and connected to white people. You're supposed to be grieved because of just because of what I just said. You begin with injustice before the facts are established, right? You have to do that. You have to first select a tragedy that is capable of producing maximum emotional outrage. Had this happened in the hood, in somebody's backyard pool with a bunch of other black boys, you would have never heard about it. Those black boys wouldn't have to bear the brunt and the responsibility of, why didn't you take care of Nolan? Why didn't you babysit Nolan? No, it would have been like, oh, dang, Nolan, hey, something happened to Nolan. You wouldn't even have known about it. The facts don't have to be settled yet. No, you begin with grief. Unanswered questions, racial suspicion. See, that's why it wouldn't have been a thing if it was a black boy at a pool party at somebody black's house. There's no racial element there to exploit. So because once people are emotionally activated, they're much easier to mobilize. This is why it was so easy to get IUIC? The Black Hebrew Israelites, the ones in the purple. What is their, I don't know their sect name, but all of them just showed up just a marching for Nolan Wells. You like, you get the fringes out of here. Okay, just only those in the apologetics community or are familiar with Black Hebrew Israelites caught that joke when I said get the fringes out of here. Anyway, it's okay. It's my joke. I thought it was funny. I'll laugh later when I probably watch this replay. But once you emotionally get people locked in, then you can get them to mobilize. You can get BLM to show up. You can get random blacks down there who are still stuck on the ideological plantation of the Democratic left. Something happened. Something like what? I don't know. But him black and they was white. Okay. Okay. No. All right, fine. I'm not going to fight with you. Believe what you want. Do we have evidence though? But no. But like, what else could it be? I mean, do you want to hear the truth or you want the assertions? You've already come to a conclusion. No, I'm convinced it was the whites. Okay. Have a good day, ma'am. That's all you can do. That's really all you can do at that point. Number 2, name a target. Turn uncertainty into a recognizable antagonist. I told y'all they need a white boogeyman, right? Next, all you got to do, the public must be given somebody to blame. They need a martyr. They need a scapegoat. They need a Barabbas. They need somebody. It could be the police, local officials, a group of white teenagers, or an alleged racist institution. They just need somebody. The target is identified before the evidence has fully been examined. It doesn't need to be. Just suspicion will quietly become the verdict. This is how you have so much foolishness out on social media, and this story has just ballooned and gotten so much out of control because you got to name a target, right? And the target, depending on the circumstance, can move. So, like in the what's his name, Ruiz situation, Corey Ruiz targets the police, right? And so many different circumstances. It might be a university, it might be an academic institution, but you have to name a target, right? Number 3, polarize the public. Oh yeah, this Crump is really good at this. Divide the audience into victims and villains. This is classic Marxism, right? Every reasonable question becomes evidence that you're on the wrong side. If you say these white boys have not been charged, there's no evidence that they were involved, or if you just say, well, the investigation is ongoing, we just don't know. Oh, no, see, you the enemy now, right? Either you accept their narrative completely or you're accused of opposing justice. So it forces you to pick a side. There's no room for patience or nuance. You're not allowed to due diligence, due process, none of that. Why? Because polarization is required. It requires heroes on one side or a villain on the other. Polarize the public. Divide the audience into victims and villains. I told y'all they need the white boogeyman. Him done it. We don't know what he did, but he did something. Why? Because he's white. It's sad, ain't it? But that's just where we are. Number 4, apply media pressure. This is where Ben Crump excels really well because the mainstream media are very biased. They're leftists, right? They want to push the Marxism and the social autopsy of curating these narratives that divide the country. So now the cameras arrive, all the lights, the inflammatory language, right? That starts. Pull out the grieving family, put them front and center. Make sure they're always visible. Don't stand in front of her. No, she needs to be seen. What do we see Ben do? He used words such as execution. He used that word so many times up in the Corey Ruiz situation. And then when it came to the Nolan Wells situation down in Mississippi, he called it a lynching. Mississippi is burning, right? I sound just like him, don't I? Mississippi was burning. He used racial lynching. I don't know if he used racial lynching, but I do remember the word lynching being used. Somebody's hiding something. There's a cover up. All kinds of just generate headlines long before the investigation can establish whether or not that those descriptions are supported by the facts. It doesn't matter. Headlines, you need the headlines. You need the optics. Use repetition, emotion, publicity to force action. We won't be satisfied until justice. I think I even heard him say that he was trying this case in the court of public opinion. I don't know if he realized how dangerous that was of a statement, but he said it. Don't listen. Don't make me find the clip. I should have pulled the clip. But I didn't. Last one. Create civil leverage. Yeah. Public outrage increases settlement pressure. In the video I did yesterday, I gave y'all a little inside baseball. When you're dealing with an affluent community, people of a certain tax bracket, especially physicians, judges, doctors, things like that, they've got liability insurance. They typically have high limits on their insurance policy. Like, they plan and prepare. Usually, this is an assumption within the legal community. Families like this, you own a boat, right? They typically have adequate or excessive amounts of insurance coverage because of the liability associated with the things they own. If you have a boat, you're a member of a yacht club, and you've got, typically, if you've been counseled appropriately and if your financial life is in order, you have decent limits on your homeowner's insurance policy. You're not walking around with $100,000. You're not walking around with $500,000. You've got liability limits up to $1 million or more. Then you've got your boat insurance. Then you've got an umbrella policy that covers all of that. And so when the public outrage ticks up, that now becomes legal and political leverage, right? So now you've got to be like, okay, you've got to protect yourself because they're coming for those liability limits. Oh, here come the lawsuit. What people don't understand, when your insurance company gets involved and those liability limits get engaged, you don't have to have been proven guilty. The insurance company, when you trigger that umbrella policy, oftentimes you're trying to access policy provisions that say, we will vigorously defend you, whether the claim has merit or not. Ben Crump knows this. He's been tapping into probably people's insurance liability limits as an ambulance chaser for a very long time. So he's just taken the tactics learned on the property and casualty and auto collision side. He done moved that over to the civil rights, social justice side. So officials have to deal with demonstrations. They coming down to a city. You have to figure out how you're going to deal with reputational pressure, the threat, not legitimate civil litigation, just the threat of it. I told y'all the process is the punishment. So by the time the evidence reaches a courtroom, this case has already been tried and potentially monetized. But in the court of public opinion, that's why you got the GoFundMe. You got all the fundraisers, everybody throwing up money for this, throwing up money for that. This is what it looks like. Public outrage increases settlement pressure. This is how the ambulance chaser usually gets paid. Go after the city, sue the police department. And before the days where the white guilt was waning, a lot of these police departments are like, look, we don't need this media circus. We don't want the headache. What will it take for this to go away? He was banking on that. But as I put on my thumbnail, I expect the pro-wokety woke blackety black crowd to crash out over the words that I put on that thumbnail. The whites are done. The white guilt is over. They're tired. We're tired. America is tired. And so what I've just outlined for you, that is the Crump Conflict Cycle. Select the grievance, name the target, apply the media pressure, and then convert all of that pressure into civil leverage. Do not tell me that I have not figured out this formula. Ben probably mad like, Dawn, she done figured it out. Get that video pulled down now. Go find who she is. I want her dead. Lord forbid. He would never say that. He doesn't probably even know who I am, right? But the fact that I've figured out the formula, I just reverse engineered it. I'm not claiming proof of direct coordination between Saul Alinsky's political ideology and Ben Crump or anyone else, right? Like, I'm just, all I've done is identify a tactical pattern. And once you recognize it, oh, you'll see it every time. You'll see it. You'll be like, there it go.